Staying in the Middle East, where Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has issued a strong warning to the United States. In a live speech, he said Iran would retaliate forcefully if attacked. Khamenei disarmed US threats as mischief, but vowed a decisive response if any action is taken. His remarks come amid rising tensions between Washington and Tehran. Iran has rejected direct talks with the United States over its nuclear program. This announcement comes after US President Donald Trump sent a letter to Iran's supreme leader, urging Tehran to reach a new deal. President Masoud Pezeshkian confirmed the decision, saying that Iran does not trust Washington and will only engage in indirect talks. Pezeshkian said Iran's policy remains unchanged and that it will not negotiate under pressure or threats. Let's take a listen to what the Iranian president had to say.
مقام معظم رهبری در رابطه با نامه‌ای که ترامپ فرستاده، مذاکره به طور مستقیم رد شده، اما مذاکره به طور غیر مستقیم همیشه ایران در اون رابطه بوده و الان هم مقام معظم رهبری تاکید فرمودن که مذاکره غیر مستقیم همچنان میتونه ادامه داشته باشه.
Trump has responded with a strong warning. He threatened to bomb Iran and said that a decision on secondary tariffs on Iran would be made in the coming weeks, depending on Iran's actions. Let's take a listen to what Donald Trump had to say.
We're going to make a decision on secondary tariffs on Iran based on whether or not they're going to make a deal. If they're going to make a deal, then we're never going to put secondary tariffs on. We're going to hope they have a great, long, and successful life as a country. But we'll see what happens. It's very, very interesting. I can't imagine them doing anything else but making a deal. I would prefer a deal to the other alternative, which I think everybody in this plane knows what that is. And that's not going to be pretty.
In response to Trump's threat, reports from Tehran suggest Iran's military has put missiles on high alert. Underground bases across the country now hold US President Donald Trump is making headlines again. Speaking to reporters, he addressed global trade, sanctions, and foreign policy. He confirmed upcoming tariffs apply to all nations, not just a select few. On Iran, he said secondary tariffs depend on whether Tehran agrees to a deal. He made it clear he prefers diplomacy over alternatives. Let's take a listen to what US President Donald Trump had to say.
We're going to make a decision on secondary tariffs on Iran based on whether or not they're going to make a deal. If they're going to make a deal, then we're never going to put secondary tariffs on. We're going to hope they have a great, long, and successful life as a country. But we'll see what happens. It's very, very interesting. I can't imagine them doing anything else but making a deal. I would prefer a deal.
On Russia, he defended Vladimir Putin but expressed disappointment over his remarks on Ukraine's President Zelensky. Trump also warned Zelensky against backing out of a rare earth minerals deal with the US, saying Ukraine could face big problems. Let's take a listen to what President Trump had to say.
I don't think he's going to go back on his word. You're talking about Putin. I don't think he's going to go back on his word. I've known him for a long time. We've always gotten along well. I think he'll be okay. But if he isn't, I was disappointed in a certain way. Some of the things that were said over the last day or two having to do with Zelensky, because when he considers Zelensky not credible, he's supposed to be making a deal with him, whether you like him or you don't like him. So I wasn't happy with that. But I think he's going to be good. And I certainly wouldn't want to put secondary tariffs on Russia, but if they were put on, it would not be. It's a psychological deadline. If I think they're tapping us along, I will not be happy about it.
Do you think they are right now?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think he wants to make a deal. And I think Zelensky, by the way, I see he's trying to back out of the rare earth deal. And if he does that, he's got some problems. Big, big problems. We made a deal on rare earth. And now he's saying, well, you know, I want to renegotiate the deal. He wants to be a member of NATO. Well, he was never going to be a member of NATO. He understands that. So if he's looking to renegotiate the deal, he's got big.
Trump also weighed in on TikTok, confirming strong interest from buyers and signaling that the final decision rests with him. On the auto industry, he stressed that American manufacturers stand to benefit the most from his policies. Let's listen in.
The automakers are going to make a lot of money, the American automakers, or international automakers if you're talking about they're going to build in the United States. The people that are going to make money are people that manufacture cars in the United States. Outside of the United States, that's going to be up to them. I don't care too much about that.
Elon Musk handed out $1 million checks to 2 Wisconsin voters promoting a conservative candidate in the state's high-stakes Supreme Court race. At a Green Bay rally, Musk, a key Trump advisor, urged voters to support conservative Brad Schimmel, warning that the election could tilt the court's stance on abortion, labor, and election laws. Musk pledged for $20 for every voter or supporter recruited, saying the race is crucial for the future of civilization. His efforts, including spending $17.5 million through affiliated groups, make this the most expensive judicial race in US history. Musk's controversial actions echo his 2024 election involvement, where he donated heavily to conservative causes. Wisconsin's state Supreme Court allowed the giveaways despite challenges from the Democratic officials. We move on now, where British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and US President Donald Trump spoke about a possible trade deal. Downing Street has called the talks productive. Since Brexit, Britain has been trying to secure a trade agreement with the United States. Previous governments have failed to reach a trade deal with the US, but now Starmer's government is making a new push. Trump has also hinted at this deal, calling it a great one that could reduce tariffs on British steel. Unlike the EU, Britain has chosen not to retaliate against US trade measures. The UK is racing to finalise an agreement before April the 2nd. That's when Trump plans to announce new tariffs. London hopes to avoid or lessen the impact through diplomacy. A key issue is Britain's digital service tax, which earns the UK £800 million a year. Reports say the UK may scrap it in exchange for tariff relief. Starmer has not confirmed this, but says all options remain open. Downing Street has called the potential agreement an economic prosperity deal. Experts say it might fall short of a full trade deal, but could still benefit Britain's economy. Over to France now, where Marine Le Pen, leader of France's far-right national rally, faces a pivotal court ruling over embezzlement charges that could bar her from the 2027 presidential race. The trial centres on allegations of diverting over €3 million in European Parliament funds for party staff. Prosecutors have requested a 5-year public office ban if found guilty. Le Pen, who denies wrongdoing, calls the case a political attack. A acquittal would strengthen her position as a top contender, while a guilty verdict could deeply disrupt her campaign. The outcome could also spark controversy over judicial influence in politics, with Le Pen supporters viewing it as an attack by the political elite. If banned, party president Jordan Bardella is expected to take her place. To North America now, with Canada's general election set for April the 28th, former central banker Mark Carney leads a Liberal resurgence, overtaking Conservative Pierre Poilievre in the polls. Carney, who became Prime Minister in March, has gained support with his strong stance against US President Donald Trump's threats, including tariffs on Canadian goods. Carney's leadership contrasts with Poilievre's focus on tax cuts and resource development, while both leaders face a divided electorate. Experts say the key issue is who can best navigate Canada's relationship with the United States. With at least 343 seats at stake, voters are looking for strong leadership in these tense times. Carney's firm response to Trump has resonated with many, positioning him as the front-runner in what is considered the most crucial election in Canada's history. Well, that's all we have time for. We will continue